What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Stay Fresh production. Today I got a special list of fragrances for you. Was doing some thinking and some reflecting, and I'm not a very old guy, although a lot of people do think I'm older than I look or than I seem. I think I've always just kind of felt old, maybe old in the soul, whatever you want to call it. But ever since I've gotten into fragrances, I've gravitated towards more mature fragrances. Not mature as in what you would think of like a bunch of fragrances that like your grandfather wore, 2 generations ago and things like that. Not quite like that. Not these old school powerhouses that if you follow Mr. Smelly, 1977, you'll see a lot of those on his channel. He likes to highlight a lot of those old classics. But I mean, modern fragrances that are composed in such a way that they are made for, I guess, the more mature, more classy gentleman. That's kind of what I've gravitated towards. So I decided to make a list of fragrances for you guys out there who also kind of feel like you fall in the same vein, where you're not that old, you're a younger man, but you're looking for fragrances that kind of fit the way that you feel. So it's not all the way about age at this point. We're not talking about you have to be 18 and over to wear these fragrances. It's all about how you feel, what your demeanor is, how you carry yourself. That's what we're basing it on. So this is a list of fragrances that are made for a more mature man, but the young man can get away with, in my opinion. So let's get started here. These are in no particular order. This is just a collection of 10 that I put together that I think are going to be great. There's 5 of these I don't have bottles of, and 5 of them I do. So we're going to start with Creed's Green Irish Tweed. That'll be on the screen here. I believe came out in the mid 80s, either 82 or 85. I can't really remember right now. It is a classic. It is a gentleman's classic for sure as well. It doesn't smell dated, but it definitely does smell mature, but not so much so to where it's stuffy or too green or too woody. I mean, you got a beautiful mix of notes. You got iris in there, lemon verbena is a major note. You got the signature musk from the ambergris note. There's a lot of really beautiful elements to this fragrance. Well blended, timeless. I think it's a no-brainer if you're looking for something great, and if you're looking for something on the higher end that's going to be mature and that's going to fit your personality. So that would be my first pick, but again, no particular order. Next up, this is one that I do have a bottle of. This comes from the house of Aqua de Parma, and this is Colonia Essenza. I did feature this on my most recent summer fragrances video. I'll link that up there. What you're going to get out of this is a very soapy, slightly musky neroli fragrance. Just beautiful. It's an eau de cologne, as with many of the fragrances in this line from Aqua de Parma. Just a gorgeous scent, undeniably masculine, clean, fresh, has some depth to it, just something you can't go wrong with. So this is one I highly recommend checking out if you're willing to drop a little bit of cash for it. I think you can get this for under $100 if you wanted to get a bottle. But of course, sampling is always the way to go. Look online and you'll be able to find something out there for sure. So that's Aqua de Parma Colonia Essenza. Next up, this is a fragrance I just got my nose on the other day. I only got a sample of it, and I am going to get a bottle soon, because I realized that I never really got a chance to smell this genre of fragrances until now, and now I want to definitely dive in a little bit deeper. This comes from the house of Maison Margiela. Probably butchered that. And this is from the Replica line, and this is At the Barber's. Classic barbershop fragrance. Again, I only have this little sample, so it's a total teaser. And a barbershop fragrance is something I never really thought I'd like until I smelled this. And for me, I feel like I may have found my new signature scent, like literally within the past few days. Something that really fits my personality. It's clean, it's fresh, it's still pretty, bright and uplifting, but it also has some groundness to it. It has some depth, it has some masculinity to it. So there's other barbershop style fragrances that I have not checked out, like MDCI Invasion Barbar. I haven't checked out Rive Gauche from YSL yet. I have checked out Bois de Portugal from Creed though. And that one is definitely in this vein of fragrances, but definitely more mature. That is a mature gentleman's fragrance. I enjoy it. I think I might want to wait a few years though to put it on, just because I don't feel quite right wearing it just yet. But that is a beautiful fragrance. So that is At the Barbers from the Replica line from Maison, Margiela. Up next, this is one I have featured numerous times on my channel, and I'm gonna always have this bottle. I always come back to it for a reason. This is a great designer fragrance. It's from the house of Alfred Dunhill, and this is Icon. Neroli, petitgrain, pepper, black pepper in there. So it's, you know, fresh, spicy, pretty aromatic. Such a gorgeous scent. Perfect for the daytime in a suit. Again, classy, mature, but not old-fashioned in any way. It has this brightness to it. I think the spiciness helps to keep it pretty uplifting and pretty zesty. Really great scent. If you haven't got your nose on it, please do. It is designer, and it's something that you could find for a decent price nowadays if you look online. Please get your nose on it if you haven't. That's Icon from Dunhill. Up next, this is also one that I recently just got my nose on, and I'm gonna give myself the opening here just so I can remember what I'm dealing with here. Oh gosh, this is also from the house of Aqua de Parma. This is Colonia Essenza. This is such a gorgeous scent. It is based on the original Colonia, which is actually over 100 years old. I think it came out in 1916. But this has more citruses in it, to my understanding. It is also a little bit more intense than the original. It is definitely mature, but again, not old-fashioned. A young man, you know, in early college, late college, and up could definitely pull this off. You're gonna get lots of citruses like lemon and bergamot. There's some spices in there like cardamom. You even get quite a bit of ginger. It's woody. Just really, really beautiful. So that is Colonia Essenza from the house of Aqua de Parma. Up next, this is from the house of John Varvatos. And this is, I could be wrong, but at least for this particular line of fragrances, this is the first that came out, and then it spawned many others in the line. And this is the original John Varvatos. This, such a gorgeous scent. You get a lot of leather in here. Plum, fig, it's pretty woody, a little bit spicy, just kind of dark, very masculine. It's pretty versatile in terms of occasions for the cool weather. This is definitely a cooler weather fragrance, whereas everything else I've talked about thus far is great for spring and summer. This is definitely fall and winter. Not gonna break the bank. If you didn't already know, these bottles are easy to come by and for good prices as well. As with all of them, performance is average, so don't be surprised if it's not lasting 7 hours on your skin. But such a gorgeous scent, very classy for nighttime wear for sure when you're just out, you know, either casual or even formal. I think it's great. That's going to be the original John Varvatos. Up next, this is a scent that I haven't spent a whole lot of time with. I've come back to it a few times. I just have a sample of it. Every time I come back to it, I'm kind of blown away. It's not the most complex scent in the world, but there's something really just captivating about it for me. And this comes from the house of Bottega Veneta, a designer house, and this is their Poram, which I believe is their first fragrance. It just came out a few years ago. I'm gonna spray this on paper just to get the opening. Wow. Yeah, you're gonna get, it's very piney, very woody. It's a pretty dry fragrance, but it is aromatic as well. There's nothing sweet about this, really. It's refreshing. It's like kind of being in the outdoors. Imagine being in a forest with lots of pine trees, and kind of there's some resinous nature to it, but mainly green. Very masculine, very kind of fresh, just clean, very, very nice fragrance from Bottega Veneta. I'll probably get a bottle of that because it is not that expensive. So that's Bottega Veneta Poram. Let's move on. Up next is going to be another scent from the house of John Varvatos. And this is also from the original line, the John Varvatos line, I guess. I don't know what to call it, but this is vintage. Oh man, this was a flanker to the original. This came out later. Not really based on the original. You get tobacco, you get suede in here, there's rhubarb in here, it's kind of woody. Another dark scent, has a little bit less sweetness to my nose than the original. It's just a different character. I don't know exactly how to explain comparing the two right now. I'd have to take some time with that, but just Again, classy, masculine, great for, I'd say, upscale occasions in the nighttime. Also a cool weather fragrance, so keep that in mind. Also not very expensive. Gorgeous. So masculine, so classy, without being too old-fashioned at all. All right, we got 2 more on the list here. This next one is a fragrance that came out in the bustling year of 1966. This comes from the house of Christian Dior. This is a classic. You might already know what it is. I just have this little teasing sample of it. This is Eau Sauvage, the original. Such a gorgeous fragrance, a classic citrus aromatic, lots of citruses, as you might guess. There's quite a bit of woody nature to it. I think there's a bunch of oak moss in there. There's a lot of vetiver, neroli, basil. Timeless, really, really is timeless. Even though it came out almost 50 years ago, maybe more than that at this point. It doesn't smell old-fashioned. There's a reason why it's still being put on shelves, why they've reissued it many times. It's probably been reformulated a little bit since the original release, but you know, still, it's a fragrance that really spreads across the spectrum of generations. So you could smell this on your grandfather, no problem, but you as a 20, 25, whatever year old guy could get away with this too. There is a brightness to it. There's depth, there's brightness, there's a musky nature to it, so it is masculine, it's classy. Perfect for daytime wear in the spring and summer. Performance is terrible, at least in the current formulations. I get maybe 45 hours, but it's such a beautiful scent. You only need it for the daytime. You can reapply it if you want, or you can put on a different fragrance for the rest of the day. Anyway, something I highly recommend you get your nose on. That is the original Dior Eau Sauvage. Last fragrance on this list is one that is new for me. I just got this a couple months ago. And it's from the house of Gucci. And you might be thinking, Gucci, like, what do they have that's good that fits this mold? Well, I was thoroughly surprised by this fragrance when I smelled it in the shop, and I had to get it. And it's also not that expensive. And this is Gucci Poram. I think originally known as Gucci by Gucci Poram. This is such a classy masculine scent. You're gonna get a lot of tobacco, but not overwhelmingly so. You're gonna get quite a bit of cypress, so you get this kind of like fresh greenness to it that's a little bit woody. There's violet in here, which I think kind of helps to round it out. I don't really get the note of violet, but it does kind of round it out. Otherwise, it might be a little bit harsh. You got some leather in the base. You got some citruses up top. I think there's bergamot, as you might expect in any men's fragrance. Such a great scent. It is both dark and refreshing all at the same time. Great for the spring and the fall, I would say. Not something I would really wear in the summer unless it's just not that hot outside. Great for cooler weather, great for more upscale occasions, especially at night when the temperature is moderate. Just something that is, in fact, right now I'm about to head out. It is not terribly warm out. I think I'm gonna throw this on. This is gonna be my scent of the day. I haven't worn anything yet, so here we go. Okay, I got 4 sprays because, again, this stuff is pretty light. Oh, I didn't say, the performance on this is very disappointing, but 4 or 5 hours is all you get, and I think that's all you need. Really a gorgeous scent. Very masculine, very classy, mature, but not old-fashioned. That's what we're going for here. So that is my list for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Let me know what you think of the picks down in the comments. Let me know if there's anything that you would throw in there that you think fits this mold. Would love to hear about it. Would love to talk about it with you guys. Peace. I'll see you guys in the next one.